Hello, and welcome to my man cave. Now, I apologise if I appear a little stiff. Not like that, you perverts. In my shoulder and occasionally my neck. Still waiting for surgery. Another story. But many of you know I rabbit on Twitter, and when not upsetting the odd cyclist, I post, and I read, and I respond. And someone on there, put the name on the screen because I have no memory, asked, what is something that you think you have done that nobody else has done? To which I responded, I have been knocked off a cliff face while climbing by a falling sheep. This created laughter, and I did then go on to say that I would look out the video, the vlog that I originally made about this. I was riding my motorbike at the time. Unfortunately, I lost it. So this led me to thinking, well, I've kind of said I've done it. I'll do it now. I've done it. Nah. This led me to thinking I've kind of said I'll do it now, so really, probably committed. Should be committed. So, with drink in hand, Southern Comfort and Lime, for anyone who wants to know, I'm going to tell you the story of that fateful day once more. Some of you will know it already. I will rejig it a bit. It will be slightly different. The facts will be the same, but I'm sure I will use different words. I'm going to need this. So many moons ago, I worked as an outdoor sports instructor. Predominantly climbing instructor. Yeah, I say predominantly among many things. And to cut a long story short, I went to North Wales, to Llangollen, to climb with some friends. And I did what every young lad does, because this was back in 1995. I went to the pub on the first night there. And I drank a lot. And I drank a little too much. And there was karaoke. And I was talked into singing, and I sang a little too much. And I woke up the next morning feeling like a band of chimps were playing tambourine and having weird sex in my brain. It wasn't good. And as it turned out, most of my friends woke up feeling pretty much the same. Some of them were working, others just lack of commitment, I call it. Didn't want to join in. No, we're not climbing a day. And I decided, no, I've come here to climb. It's what I'm going to do. So off I went. Hangover in hand. I'm not sure how that works. Off I went with my hangover, and I started to do something called bouldering at this cliff face in North Wales. Now, bouldering, for those of you who are not in the climbing fraternity, is pretty much as it sounds. Often it can be on a very large boulder. It's small scale climbing without a rope. You use it to sort of train for skills, stamina, practice certain moves. It's all good fun and a little bit safer than doing the things you're not sure of way up there. You follow? Now, it doesn't have to be on a boulder. In my case, it was actually at the bottom of what's called a single pitch route, which is a climbing route that's about 30, 40 feet high. And I was only going up to my feet were about 15, 20 foot off the ground, traversing across, coming back down. I was either doing circuits, or I was traversing left to right, or I was just practicing various moves, but you get the picture. Right? Now, while I was doing this, there was a funny sound above me. And I remember thinking to myself, it's a bit weird. What was it? And a couple of little stones, ding, 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 boink, came down. And probably just debris, a little bit of slate coming off the top. No biggie, right? Now, there was no holler of below. Again, for the non-climbers among you, when someone fears that a piece of their climbing equipment, a piece of rock that they've dislodged, their lunch, or their friend, is plummeting towards you, they will often shout the word, below, to warn you it's coming down. And you immediately pull yourself in, and you wait for the whistling of the said item, preferably not a person, to hurtle past you, and you carry on with your climb. Obviously, if it's a person, you call the emergency services. If you had a phone back then. I digress. I'm kind of walking off at the spaghetti junction of story. So, there was no below. That's where I was going with that. There was no anything, really. So I thought, that's fine. You know, you teach your kids when you're training, never do this. I'm doing it like a T-Rex because I can't move the shoulder. Never look up, lean back and look up, because the last thing you want is whatever's coming down to hit you in the face. Because you're usually holding on by your fingertips, and when your face gets hit, A, it hurts, and B, you fall backwards. I don't know what that noise was. So, yeah, it's not great. Don't catch rocks, people, lunch, moss, birds with your face. It's not cool. Okay. So we've set the picture, right? Don't do that. So I carry on anyway, long story short. I'm sort of climbing along thinking, bit groggy still, but the hangover's blowing away, starting to enjoy myself, relax into it, yeah. Working out the six-pack. It was a six-pack back then, it's kind of now a keg. But anyway, I hear another noise. But this noise is louder, and it's a little more, not frightening, but worrying. And I think, what the hell is that? So without even thinking, I blame the hangover. Alcohol is bad, children. I did this. T-Rex! Yes, me. That's what I did. And I looked up. And at first, I couldn't really see anything. Nothing exciting. And then I saw a cloud. A beautiful cloud, only clouds aren't quite as solid. They tend to be more opaque and transparent, and this one just wasn't. And it was a little dirty. And it was coming towards me. And it had bug eyes. And it was making a noise I can only describe as get that picture. You know the movie Die Hard, when McClane what's his face, he falls off the Nakatomi Plaza and he's like, it's slow motion all the way down. Reverse that and make it a sheep. That's what came at me, plummeting down towards me. And it must have fallen from about 15, 20 meters above me. It took 7 years. 7 fucking years to reach me. Because time does that, doesn't it? There's an old man sitting there. Old man time. And he's like, oh shit, this looks good. Slow. It just kept coming. It just kept coming, and it kept coming, and it kept coming, and in all that time, my brain hadn't decided what it could do, what it would do, what it wouldn't do. I was just looking up, going, fuck. And at which point, the sheep and I had a coming together. Not that kind, you dirty... Ugh. And it landed square in my chest area. Because obviously, I was leaning back. I was looking up. It missed my face. It landed in my chest. And I peeled off the rock backwards. Not terribly gracefully, I would imagine. Almost hugging, to be fair. Because one thing you don't realise is when you fall, you naturally grab for things. Well, the only thing I could grab for was on my chest. So it's kind of like some weird, messed up hugging the sheep to the ground. And we landed. 7.5 years later, we landed on my left ankle. And it was sore. It was very sore. I hit down on my ankle, I went flat on my back, and I was just, Jesus! I won't repeat the words I said, they are unpleasant. and they were loud. The air turned blue. And there I was, lying in the middle of North Wales of all places, because, you know, why not have a sheep joke in North Wales, eh? Lying on the ground, on my back, with a sheep on my chest, thinking, I'm really sore. I'm sure I was thinking other things, but that was the crux of it. And looking back, I'm actually quite glad it never knocked me out, because it could be quite difficult to explain why you're lying in a rural area of North Wales hugging a sheep. Yeah, I'm grateful for small mercies. So I thought, ugh, my senses were coming back, and I've got this stinky, and they really do stink, and to be fair, close up it looked nothing like a cloud. It was manky, I had cleggies hanging off it, it was disgusting. So I went to push it off me, thinking, great, dead sheep, nice. Farmer can go fuck himself. I'm not doing anything about this. Then I went to push it, and the little bastard jumped up, kicked me in the side of the face, and ran off. Just fucked off. I've saved your life, and off you fuck. Bastard. Pun not intended. And I'm not proud of myself in that moment. In that moment, I became angry. Properly angry. And I turned round and I picked a rock up off the ground. It wasn't a big one, it was just like a handful size. And I went to hurl it at that fucking sheep. And I turned round and I raised my hand. And there were 30 of the little bastards just standing there, doing nothing. Not one of them had the common decency to have a limp. Ow. See? Pain. So I put down the rock and I said to myself, well, I'm going to have to get off. Not like that. The hillside. And I limped, after packing all my kit up, back to my car with what turned out later to be a fractured ankle. Long story short, Prince of Wales was in Llangollen that weekend, so you can kind of timestamp it. I was driving an automatic car, my left wasn't working, I was braking with my right foot. If you've ever done that, it's aggressive. So I started using the handbrake every now and again to slow it down rather than the foot brake. I'm not proud. But I made it back to the youth hostel where I was staying and where my friends worked. And one of my friends came across, saw the mess of me, saw my ankle. I mean, my ankle was like 10 ankles. That's all I can see. And said, oh God, are you okay? What happened? And I was like, no, nothing. Well, it's clearly not nothing. Your ankle's like 10 ankles. It's nothing. Nothing happens, fine. No, come on. I'm not telling you because you will laugh. And she said to me, we're friends. I won't laugh. Then I let my guard down, didn't I? And I thought, I'll tell her. And I said, well, a sheep fell on me. She said, sorry, what? A sheep fell on me. Sorry? Did you say a sheep fell on you? Yes, a sheep fell off a cliff and it fell on me. And she looked at me. There was a pause. And then her shoulders started doing that thing. You know that thing that they do. And then there was that sound. And then she just pissed herself laughing. Liar. My sense of humour was not good. In fact, my sense of humour did not get good till about 4 fucking years later, I can assure you. However, she did offer to take me to the hospital to get my 7 to 10 ankles fixed. And I went to, what is the name of the hospital? I'll put it up on the screen if I can remember it. And I went to this hospital, and I went in, and the doctor came through, and he saw me, and I thought, I'm not telling this fucker what happened. I'm going to lie. Lie. And so I did. Hello, sir. What happened to you? Well, it was a bit of a climbing accident. Oh. I fell. Oh, that's not good, that's not good. And he was checking my ankle, and how high did you fall from? Did you land on both feet? Was it predominantly this foot? Predominantly my left foot, yes. What? Quite a bad injury. It looks very swollen. Like 10 ankles, perhaps. He never said that. And as I was sitting there, I must have, I don't know, subconsciously rubbed my chest, or because obviously a sheep falling from height, quelle surprise, hurts. And I must have been sitting there just going, oh. And he caught me. It's a bit sexual, isn't it? He caught me and he said, are you okay? Yes. Fine. Deal with the ankle. Is your chest okay? Yes, fine. Did you bounce? Have you hurt something else? Why is your chest sore? I'm not very good at thinking up on the spot lies, and I'm like, oh, it's nothing. No, you have to tell me what's happened. If I'm going to sort of check you over and make sure that you're safe and well, I need to know what's happened. I'm thinking, fuck. And I'm like, well, you just hit me in the chest. Oh, so something fell on you. You got hit in the chest by something. Yes. Was it a rock? You could see him getting worried, thinking a rock in the chest. That could have broken ribs. Oh, there could be bigger problems here. No, it wasn't a rock. Well, what was it? Sorry? I didn't hear you. I'm not telling you. You laugh. And for the second time, that day, someone said to me, I will not laugh. They added, because I am a professional. This is my job. So again, I let my guard down, this time thinking he's a professional, it's his job. So I said, well, a sheep fell on me and knocked me off a climbing route. And I looked at him and he was deadpan, and I thought, oh, thank fuck. And then the shoulder started going. There was no with him, though. No. He looked at me and said in a marginally squeaky voice, I'm just going to get something from the other room. And fucked off. And there was whispering. People think whispering is quiet. Whispering is not quiet. Whispering is louder than the sound shh. And then there was several hee-hee-hees. So clearly there was a party behind that fucking door in that room going, fucking sheep fell on him. You wouldn't believe it. In a Welsh accent. My sense of humour, by this point, was failing me rapidly. However, I remained professional, even if he didn't. And he came back through. And he said, right, we're going to have to send you to the X-ray department. There could be a break here. It does look quite bad. And we'll maybe check your chest at the same time. Rubbing. So that's what we did. He gave me a note. Take this and hop off. Down the corridor. The X-ray department's down there. Then off I limped to the X-ray department, where there was another reception and a nurse. And en route, being nosy, I decided to read the note that he had given me. The note for my X-ray, explaining to them the trauma that I had been through that required me to be X-rayed in order to make sure I was okay. Had my name, my date of birth, my address, all the usual blurb, my NHS number, and the words sheep fell on him. That's it. Not climbing accident, he could have been nice. Not climbing accident, object fell from cliff. Not even climbing accident, sheep fell from cliff. Just sheep fell on him. 4 fucking words. And I had to hand this over to yet another person, a nurse. And it was like a game of tug of war, because I kind of handed it over and I pulled it back and fuck off. And she's like, would you give me? And I'm like, no, because you're fucking laughing. For the 3rd time that day I heard the immortal line, I will not laugh. I am a nurse. I do not laugh at people. So she opened the piece of paper, and you know what's coming. She looked down, then she looked up, and her little eyes started watering. And then she fucked off into the other room and pissed herself. I could hear her. The people at the far end of the corridor could hear her. Half of fucking North Wales could hear her. Pissing herself laughing. My day was getting no better. So, off I went, X-ray. Amazingly, the X-ray person didn't say anything. They're a funny bunch, they, aren't they? I suppose it's exposure to radiation. Sit here, fuck off. Right. And they ascertained that yes, there was a fracture, not a break, in my ankle. And by this point, I think my pride and my masculinity had taken enough of a kicking for one day. And I just wanted to fuck off home. And I phoned my friend and said, just, are you still in there? Yes, I'm nearby. Come and pick me up. I've had it. But there I was, in a hospital, already emasculated. My pride, my ego had taken a kicking. My friend turned up, as per my phone call, to pick me up. So I was hobbling. By this point my ankle was really bad, and I was hobbling down that long 82,000-mile NHS corridor. You've seen them. In those days, didn't have frickin' yellow and red lines on them. They were just this long tunnel of doom. And there I was, walking, limping, hobbling, bouncing off the walls. And this nurse, the same nurse who'd been at the desk for the X-ray, who told me she would not laugh, came running out, excuse me, sir, and I was like, I am not talking to you, I am going for the door. But you'll need crutches. And I thought, no, I will not need crutches. I've had it. I have had the worst day of my life. I've had the worst year of my life in a day. No crutches for me. I was taking no more. My masculinity was fighting back. I will walk down this 1,000-mile corridor to that door, and I will walk out of it on my own. I took one step, then another step, then another step, and then I fell over. At which point I said, yes, I'll have the crutches, please. And so there we go. And you would think the story ends, wouldn't you? I got my friend to phone my boss, and she said, don't worry, I won't mention anything about the sheep. And I'm like, fuck off. We've done this. You did it. You laughed. No. But I realise you're not having a good time. You're not amused. And what kind of friend would I be if I, kicked you while you were down? And so she phoned my work and said, look, he can't make it back. He's had a climbing injury, and he can't drive. Bingo. So I spent a few weeks, extra weeks, in Llangollen, in North Wales, at the youth hostel, relaxing and enjoying myself. And eventually the ankle got better and I could drive, and I returned to where I worked, which was another youth hostel. And I pulled up, and there was a group of children. Lovely little children. And my friends, and other instructors. And I parked my car and I got out of it, and I was kind of hobbling along, still at the crutches. And one of the little darlings went, "Is that him?" And I'm like, "What?" And then this 10-year-old Satan just went, "Nah!" At which point everybody laughed. Because apparently my friend had told everybody. And they had told all the children that they were instructing, who probably went home and told their mothers. And I endured every single sheep joke you can possibly imagine from that day till what felt like the end of eternity. And as I said at the start, it took me 4 years, count them, 4 years, to actually develop a sense of humour about it. There became a point where if you spoke to me about sheep, or even mentioned them, I would become somewhat aggressive and angry. Yes, post-sheep traumatic syndrome, or post-traumatic sheep disorder, whatever. So there you go. I have shared in what was probably half an hour the story of the falling sheep. I hope you're happy. Admittedly, I do have a sense of humour about it now. Looking back, it was so funny. Although I still hate sheep. Horrible little woolly bastards. Pointless. If evolution had really been allowed its own way, they wouldn't exist. They'd be dead. Man is the only thing stupidly keeping them alive. Look at them. They're gormless. They start off as these fluffy cute things, and then look what they turn into. And even when you eat lamb, it's greasy and ugh. And mutton, ugh. So what? Why? Get rid of the sheep. I hate sheep. And on that note, I'm going to leave you and go back to drinking my Southern Comfort and lime to deal with the pain that's now really sore in my neck, because I realise I've been bobbing my head quite a lot as I've spoken to you. So by telling this story, I have tormented myself emotionally and physically. And I hope you appreciate it. I really do. As it happens, I have a dearth of other bizarre and interesting stories, and maybe one day I'll tell you them. Because it always happens to me. But on that note, thanks for listening, and have a lovely day, or night, or evening, or afternoon. But do look out for the falling sheep, because those little fluffy arse panzers, they're devious. They're devious. Good night. Take care.